Hey everybody, welcome to the Get Healthy brand webinar. And today I have such an amazing person with me. Not only is she a great friend and an inspiration to the natural health world and integrative and functional health, she is also the CEO and founder of Heal at Scale, which is what I would say one of the best tools and assets that I've discovered through my walk of trying to scale as a practitioner. Joy Houston is with us today, and we're going to be talking about protocols to programs, just basically helping practitioners take that genius, your protocol, and turn it into an online program. And we've actually led up to this, Joy, for what, almost 2 months now with live streams.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody has caught those, but I'm so excited you're here. Why don't you give us a little background about who you are?
Oh, okay. Well, I was helping really big names in the health space. So you guys might know Dr. Daniel Amen, JJ Virgin, Amy Myers, Dr. Sarah Gottfried, Chris Kressers, names like those. And kind of adding zeros to the end of already sort of celebrity health brands by making sure they could leverage their expertise into things like books, online group programs, private label supplements, that kind of thing. And then my hormones had a complete meltdown. Luckily, I was in the middle of supporting Sarah, Dr. Sarah Gottfried, with the hormone reset diet. If I had not been supporting her with that book at that time, I might not have known that I didn't need a white jacket that buckles in the back, but that it was actually my hormones, right? So everything I was interviewing her clients, I interviewed 50 women who had gone through her process in preparation to support the creation of that book and the program that went behind it. So I knew something went wrong with my hormones. And so Sarah didn't live locally where I lived. So I hunted down someone here in San Diego where I live, functional medicine expert. Her name's amazing, or her name's Brooke. She's amazing. She turned me around in about 4 months. And I'm talking everything. Like I literally had to tell my husband I was having emotions that didn't feel like my own. Like something would happen and I should be a 1 on a Richter scale and I was a 10.
Yeah.
So at my 4 month checkup with her, crickets in her clinic. Nobody was there. She literally had watery eyes, like she looked like she had just cried. And I was like, girl, like, I feel like you saved my life and definitely my marriage. Can I ask what the heck is going on? And she's like, I'm just going to open a coffee cart. People only want caffeine and sugar. They're not really interested in their health. They won't do the work. They're blah, blah, blah. I have no idea what I'm doing here with this business. I have no idea how to market. And then all of a sudden, I just was awash with this sense of guilt that, like, wait, I'm in the middle of what will be a multi-million-dollar launch with a hormone expert, who I respect and admire and love, but she's not even the one helping me. And then the one who's actually here in front of me helping me is near to tears because she's taking home less money than she pays her MA. And that's when I went home and I partnered in that agency with my husband, Travis. And I said, I want to open a subdivision of our company called Heal at Scale. And we need to get this, everything that we do for all of these practitioners, all of the funnels, all the ad campaigns, all of it, all of it. They need to know how to do this. Now, obviously, they won't have big teams. They might have just themselves. They might be a solopreneur. They might have 1 or 2 tech people, maybe a social media person, and maybe somebody helps with the website. So it has to be simple, it has to be easy, and it has to be replicatable. So once they like doing something, they need to be able to turn around and do it again.
Yeah.
So my goal was, how can I create marketing and business strategy initiatives for hometown health heroes that are essentially like a Lego box? We're going to give you the Legos, all the little pieces, and you're going to turn one page at a time until the Lego looks like exactly what you wanted to build. And that was how we got started. So we did that 3 years ago in September. So September was our 3-year anniversary, or this September will be our 4-year anniversary. And it's been going crazy ever since. So my goal with Heal at Scale is, how many medical millionaires can I make every year? And a millionaire can be, like, that can sound like a very intimidating number, but it's 83.3K a month. Right? So once I can get them to 83.3K a month in monthly recurring revenue, they're rock solid. They're locked in. And that typically gives them the freedom that they need to hire as needed, to have their time back, get back to their own health, get more time with their family. So that's what Heal at Scale is all about. But our conversation today, that can be a very wide conversation, right? Because there's many things that you have to know who you want to be in the online space. You know how to attract and engage an audience of the avatars that you want to serve. And then you have to know how to convert that into profits predictably. And so since that's a really wide conversation, what we're going to drill down into today is the very initial jump. And it's a big jump, you guys. If it's going to feel like you're trying to jump across the Grand Canyon, okay? And that big jump is, how do I go from serving people one-on-one, where I'm looking at one individual's symptoms, I'm selecting one group of tests for them, I'm customizing their protocol, I'm following up and helping them pivot until they get results. That's what we do in the one-on-one space, okay? How do I make the big jump from helping people in groups, where that same hour that I might spend with one client, I'm spending with 50, 100, 200, 500 people? How do I make the jump from serving one-to-one to serving one-to-many? And Tracey, it's very intimidating. It's very intimidating because y'all are taught that there's the N of one, right? Everyone is unique. Everybody needs to be spoken to individually, and every single protocol needs to be pivoted. That's my understanding from all the practitioners that I've served. Do you see anything different in the space, Tracey, or in your own experience?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head there, totally, because we are small teams, and we love to do what we do, but we didn't get into it for all the things you just mentioned, the marketing and all the things. And so when I met you and I saw what you did, the natural migration between Heal at Scale and Get Healthy, it was just a great combination. So I'm so glad you're here, and I can't wait to watch all the things that you help educate our practitioners on today. So thank you.
Yeah. And what I want to talk, I want to stay on one side of the Grand Canyon here, where we're just one-on-one. And you guys know the role that Get Healthy Store plays in that. Okay. So Tracey has come and spoken to my practitioner accelerator audience, to my Heal at Scale podcast, the channel on YouTube. And so she shared publicly, so I'm going to repeat this, I'm sure she shared it with you, that she adds 25 to 35K a month from her Get Healthy store. That's a sizable amount, okay? I know practitioners who come to me and they're making, 5K a month. So to add that kind of revenue is really serious, okay? So if we're able to hit those kind of numbers even before we jump the gap, imagine what we can do when we jump the gap, okay? Because we're selling a certain amount of products in our Get Healthy store based on a limitation that comes with time, okay? If we're seeing people one-on-one, there's just feasibly only so many people that we can see in a given day, in a given week, in a given month. So that's going to put a glass ceiling on how much money we can make. Okay. It's going to put a ceiling on how much we can make from charging for our time, but it's also going to put a ceiling on how much we can make for products from our Get Healthy store, lab tests that we order, supplements that we sell, right? Because if we're only seeing, I don't know, if we're only seeing 100 people in a month, then that means we're only recommending ancillary sales that bring in additional income for those amount of people, okay? As soon as we jump the gap, what happens to the volume in our Get Healthy store? What happens to how many lab tests we're selling? Well, it exponentiates, because instead of that one person that we're talking to, we may be talking to 20, 50, 100, 500 people in our group setting, okay? So it's important to make this gap because it leverages your time and it leverages your expertise and your knowledge. Now, there are some things that come up whenever we start having this conversation, okay? The first is the biggest elephant in the room that I want to address straight away. You can go to PubMed, and do a quick search on the efficacy of group programs. Okay, I've done this myself to sort of quell the nervousness of any practitioners, from MDs to health coaches, who are freaking out about the possibility of jumping that Grand Canyon gap between serving one-on-one and serving at scale. Okay, and what you will find is everything from cancer survival to smoking cessation, weight loss, blood sugar management for pre-diabetics and diabetics. So fertility programs, what you will find across the board when you dig into the research of what happens to people when we put them in group programs is they get radically better results. Okay. So when I dug into that and looked into it, all of the psychology behind it seems to center around the fact that we're human, we're herd animals, we need each other. Okay. The way that I look at this is if we can lean into a statistic that smoking a pack of cigarettes a day is as dangerous to our health as loneliness. Okay. If someone is going through a chronic illness, can you not see how that would make them lonely and isolated? Right? Especially chronic illness, you guys, which I think functional medicine is uniquely qualified to help people solve. Okay. Conventional medicine is not that great at solving chronic health problems. The surgeries, the emergencies, yes, amazing. But chronic conditions, not so much. The unique thing about chronic conditions is people who suffer from them end up getting really lonely because after a while, they don't want to be that guy who's like always complaining. So they sort of go in and they get lonely and stop complaining about their symptoms and start just sort of ruminating on all of the evil things that might be happening to them. Maybe this is a cancer no one has discovered. Maybe I have a new illness no doctor has figured out yet. They get really dark in their thinking. And that isolation and loneliness in their illness is really dangerous to their health. Soon as we put them in groups, they are commiserating, they are empathizing, they are sharing life hacks for putting your protocols into play. Okay. So I'll share just that with you for now, but please, like, don't take it from me. Go to PubMed and do your own research on how people get better results in group programs so that you feel confident as you're making this jump. Okay. So with the elephant cleared out of the room, now we need to talk about how do I make the jump from one to one to one to many? Okay. Well, the very simple, if you just kind of wanted to do this on your own, the very simple way to do that would be the next 3 clients that you bring into service. Okay. So the next 3 clients that you're working with, I want you to land these 3 clients and I want you to treat every single one of them as if they were a cohort, a group, okay, going through your group program. Now, when you start to think of it that way, when you think of one person as if they were 100 people listening to you, what you will notice is you get a little more nitpicky about the order that you share information. You start remembering the order that you share information in. You start noticing how many times you repeat yourself ad nauseum about the same condition and the same things that need to happen in your protocol. You will start to notice a pattern, right? Well, first I do my consult with the person and then we order the labs, but I don't leave them abandoned while I'm waiting for the lab results. I give them some things to quell their symptoms in the meantime that are safe, right? Generally relatively generic, calm them down, bring them back to homeostasis. I do some things for them while we're waiting for the lab test results rather than abandoning them. All of this is going to be part of your group program. Okay. So you're going to think to yourself, okay, what conversations do I have to calm them down and take in all the information? What are the entry level tests that we do first? What is the sort of foundational information that I arm them with while they are waiting for their results? And then when they get their results back, what sort of, I call them buckets of results, what sort of buckets of results might they land in? So I'm going to pause here for a second. When I say buckets of results, I'm going to use a stool test for example, but if you're a hormone expert or a thyroid or autoimmune or fertility, it doesn't really matter to me. When you get those test results back, there are generally some categories that you're going to have protocols for. So let's say you lead with a GI map and you might land buckets. You might have protocols for people who land in, let's say they have parasites. That's one bucket. And then H. pylori and Candida and it's just SIBO and just complete dysbiosis. Let's say those are the kind of 5 buckets that you have. And you might have a conversation with people that says, hey, okay, we're seeing some parasites here. We're seeing some Candida here. We're seeing a little bit of this. We're seeing a little bit of that. But because we need to prioritize which thing we handle first, We're going to do parasites first because the waste from those parasites is going to cause acidity in the body. So if we fight the candida now, it's just going to keep coming back, right? So we need to do the parasites first before we do the candida, and then we'll move on to anything else that we saw in this test. So you're going to have sort of buckets of results that they might land in, and then you're going to have a hierarchy for which one of those things that you treat first, right? So same with if you're doing hormone tests, you might have, oh, this person has extreme estrogen dominance. You might have all your different buckets of categories that people come back with those test results. And then you're going to come up with a hierarchy of, okay, how do I typically address those? Which order, which ones, think of like which one is that needs a tourniquet and which one needs a Band-Aid, right? And so as you go through these 3 clients that you're really noticing exactly what you do, you're probably going to find yourself feeling a little anal retentive or like OCD about giving them handouts or giving them information or even recording videos because you want them to remember everything that you said. Okay. When you look at those 3 clients that you've treated, each one as if they were a cohort of 100 individuals going through that conversation with you, you will see a pattern in the way that you talk to people, in the way that you order tests, in the way that you deliver information to hold them over until the results get in, and in the way you help them figure out exactly where they are and which protocol that you give them to move forward, and then how you adjust and pivot as you move on. Okay, that's going to be your course curriculum. Okay, that is going to be your course curriculum. Now, of course, there are some nuances to the way that we teach group programs, the language that we use when we teach group programs versus the way that we treat people one-on-one. From a legal standpoint, the primary difference is there will always be a brick wall between clients that are under our medical umbrella. We can diagnose, we can treat, we can prescribe medication. As soon as we move into the online program space, these people sign a different agreement with us. Okay, when they pay for your group program, they literally tick a box with a completely different style of terms and agreements. Okay, those people are agreeing to what the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, okay, group programs are sold in the online space, and anything sold in the online space is under the purview of the Federal Trade Commission to make sure that nobody gets duped or sold, a bad bill of goods, okay? So when people are in your online program, they are signing up with what the FTC considers education and entertainment for the purposes of navigating their own health in their own way with their own local medical providers, okay? Now, if we keep that in mind, then that means we might directly speak to people who we're working with one-on-one in a capacity that looks a little something like this, okay? Tracey, you have this, like this is what your test shows, okay? Here is my protocol for this. Here is the diagnosis that I have for you. Here is your treatment protocol. You will be taking X, Y, and Z, whether that's, I need to give her something to kill off the parasites. And then after that's done, I'm going to give her something to support the candida going away. And then we might address anything on the product. I'm looking her in the face. I'm diagnosing her. I'm prescribing a very specific set of medications, be that over-the-counter supplements or be that prescriptions, okay? I am looking at her, diagnosing, treating, and prescribing, okay? Conversely, if Tracey was my program participant and she raised her hand or she, came on the Zoom call and she had a question after reviewing her own results, okay, and she asked me, she told me her results and she's asking for my insight, I would need to say, well, listen, since you're not under my medical care, you haven't come into my clinic to be my client, I can't prescribe or treat you, but what I'm going to tell you is exactly what I have done historically for my clients. So when I see results like this, I have typically gone with this and this and this as my first line of defense. And my clients or patients typically reply back to me that they see these differences within approximately this time frame. Do you have questions about the way that I have treated my patients in the past? I cannot diagnose and treat her, you guys. I cannot do that. And if she tries to cross that bound with me, I need to be good about navigating those boundaries and let her know, hey, I am happy. This even looks like it might get to the point. Let's say we're in a hormone program. It might get to the point where she says to me, oh, this is, she shares her test results with me. And I see indicators that she actually needs to meet with me and she needs to be prescribed bioidentical hormones. That's fine, okay? But it is up to me to keep the boundaries separate between the two groups. And I would need to say to her, wow, you know what? When I see those results in my patients, I do typically lean into some bioidentical hormone replacement if I have tried X, Y, and Z and that didn't work. Okay. And if that is something that you want to explore with me, I'm going to give you the link to work with me. And then they would book a call with you. And if you are licensed in the state where they're prescribed, or you have relationships with other prescribers in different states, then of course they would sign your patient care agreements and you would handle that however you normally handle that. Okay. So that's the way that it works. All right. Now, I want to reveal something really honest with you. We used to host a program called Protocol to Program, okay? And Protocol to Program was a 6-week group program where we took practitioners through the process of identifying the exact avatar that they wanted to serve, coming up with something called your content construct, which I'll show you here in a second. A content construct is just a very elegant, simple way to cut through the noise and make it very clear what you do for people and how you do it, okay, in a very kitchen table language, easily, like you don't need any medical expertise to understand exactly what you're doing for them. And that's important because we tend to speak over our audience's head. And that's a huge mistake. That will cost you. Okay. That is the difference between you being a millionaire practitioner and not. So it is absolutely crucial for you to have clear messaging. So we did clear messaging, and then we did the curriculum outline, and then we did the marketing plan. Okay. And it took people approximately 3 months to get that done. Okay. Well, after running cohorts of that program many times, and after AI emerged on the scene and things like custom GPTs emerged as technical possibilities that me and my team could design to make your work infinitely easier and less frustrating, because I have yet to meet practitioners who are head over heels in love with the idea of marketing and messaging and showing up on social media. Most of them don't absolutely love it. Okay. So after taking practitioners through that process multiple times, we decided, let's go ahead and put some chocolate peanut butter together and make a delicious peanut butter cup. And so we took the process that we did in Protocol to Program, and we created an AI fast track in which you answer questions about who you most want to serve. And that audience should be someone that you have a proven track record of helping, okay? And exactly what you want to serve them up. What do you want to do? How do you want to help them? What are the symptoms you want to put in the rearview mirror? And then what is your general protocol for doing that? So that would be you answering to the AI, okay, I typically do an assessment and then I do this testing. While we're waiting for testing, I simply give them this first line of defense. And then after that, I take them through X, Y, and Z, and we pivot as needed as we go, okay? So you are answering questions about the way that you normally unravel someone's problems, okay? Keeping in mind, there's always room for them to pivot and adjust based on how things do or do not, respond, how their body does or does not respond, okay? That used to take us 3 months. In AI Fast Track, we actually did that in 3 days, okay? And I want to walk you through exactly what that looks like. So I'm gonna switch over to my iPad so you know exactly what this looks like, because I think having an understanding of what is a content construct, what does it look like to clearly articulate my messaging? How do I do that in a visual way that works in the, online environment where people have the attention span of a gnat? Okay, so I want you to see examples of that. And then I want to invite you to consider doing your protocol to program jump in just 3 days. Okay, we did this event with our Practitioner Accelerator Mastermind members, and we had a mix of people in that community. Some of them had been with us already, okay, because we have practitioners in that mastermind who stay with us for years, because the cost of that investment versus how much money they make from, keeping in the forefront of marketing and business strategy with us is like, we're just a drop in the bucket for them, right? So we had people who had already created their first or second program, and they were creating their second or third or fourth birth program, okay? So we had people who had done it before and it took them 3 months. And then we had brand newbies who didn't realize how lucky they were that all of this was unraveling in real time, and they got their entire messaging done, their entire curriculum outline for their program, and a comprehensive marketing plan to get that program out in the world, okay? So it was fun for me to see, like, the newbies didn't know how lucky they had it, and then the old school people were kind of schooling them on, like, oh my God, you guys, this took me 3 months or 6 months to actually get it done, and you guys are doing it in 3 days. So I want you to take a peek at this, and I want you to see exactly what we accomplish in that time together, okay? So the concept of protocol to program is basically 3 different things, okay? The whole point of what we're trying to do together is make sure that we have clear messaging. That's number 1, okay? The second thing that we need to do is we need to have a comprehensive curriculum, okay? So that's basically your program outline. And then once we have that, we need to make sure that we have a clear marketing plan, or we have a comprehensive marketing plan. Okay? Now, again, typically we were walking people through this in group sessions week over week until they had all of that done. But what we went ahead and did is we went ahead and created a AI bot that will ask you, who is it that you serve and what is it that you can help them accomplish? And then it asks you questions about how you get them there. Like, what assessments do you start with? What testing do you start with? What's like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3? All of the way that you think about breaking down, navigating their problems. And once you answer those questions, you come up with 3 clear objectives and 3 phases of work. Okay, so it looks a little something like this. You're going to come up with, okay, these are the 3 wins that my people, my audience, the audience that you serve, the audience you seek to serve, okay? What are the 3 main wins that they want, okay? Once you clarify those 3 wins and we tell them, what's the big aspiration? Why do we want to serve that? Okay, so I'll give you some examples of this from a medical space, and I'll also show you examples of mine. Okay, once we tell them that, then we're saying, okay, well, what do we have to do in order to get it? What are the sort of areas of work that we have to tackle together in order to accomplish this? And then once we have those 3 areas of work that we can describe, then we simply break it down for them. Okay, this is the way that we do that. Now, you might be wondering, Joy, why are you breaking this down into 3 things? Life is not that simple. The human body is not that simple. My protocols are not that simple. I know, okay? I've been working with practitioners for over 13 years, so I know how complicated the human body is, and I know how hard you have to work in order to turn their symptoms around and get them the results that they want. I absolutely know that, okay? I also know that in marketing, if you overwhelm your audience, they will not buy from you, okay? Because when you overwhelm them, they are confused, and the confused mind does not buy. It goes and it searches for a simpler track to get to the end result that they want, all right? You guys following me? I hope you're following me. All right. So let's walk through an example of this. I want you to see mine so you can see a clear example, but I want to walk through a medical example. Okay. So let me think of something here that would probably work for a lot of you. Okay. Let's go with a fertility example. Okay. So let's say that we're dealing the avatar that we want to serve. Okay. So the audience that we have chosen to serve is like couples. Let's face it, it's probably women making those decisions, right? So why don't we say women ready to be moms? Okay, or women ready to grow their family. That's the audience that we want to serve, okay? So we know these women are probably people who've been trying for a year or so and they haven't got knocked up and they're starting to get freaked out and they're wondering what they can do to optimize their fertility, okay? So first, we might need to help them normalize their cycles, right? So one of the wins that we might want to tell them we can help them get is like predictable cycles. Okay. And then they might want to optimize fertility. And this might include things we can do to optimize their fertility and also hubby's, right? Because we know that they're going to boss hubby if we need to have them do that too. Okay. And then the whole thing that we want to get to is conceive naturally. And the big why in the middle is something, it has to be phrased in a way that we know it's what's going to make their heart sing. Okay. So what is going to make this type of a woman's heart sing? It's probably grow your family, right? And the reason I would choose the words like grow your family as opposed to, have a healthy baby is because it might not be their first child. It might be their second child. It might be their third child. Maybe they're remarried and they want to have a first child with another person. We don't even know what that looks like. So the big why has to be something that makes their heart sing. Okay. This is a little bit hard for you to read, so I'm just going to get that out of the way. Okay. But we're going to say grow your family. We'll write it over here so you can read it. Their big why needs to be juicy, something that makes their heart sing. Okay. Grow your family. Okay. Now, what are the 3 areas of work a functional medicine fertility expert might do for this audience? Okay. Well, let's say we need to start by determining detoxing their body. Okay. It might be, okay, first we need to do an assessment and see where we're at. Any kind of assessments that you need to do, it doesn't matter. But we need to detox the body from any, environmental estrogens or anything that are causing a problem for them to actually have predictable cycles. Okay, that's the first thing that we want to do. And then we want to optimize the body to get them there. Okay. And then the next thing that we might want to do is we might want to develop. And I'm just doing alliterations to make it more fun, right? and then I might try to think of another D word. I can't think of one at the moment, okay? But we're gonna say, okay, the first phase of work that we do is detox, and then we develop, and then we get down to business. Okay, and this might be like sexual timing in terms of when their cycle is, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's say those were the 3 primary areas of work that we wanted to do with them. When we go out into the world and we talk about having predictable cycles and optimizing fertility and conceiving naturally so that we can grow the family, that's not going to overwhelm anybody. Okay. When we say that there's 3 core areas of work that we have to do, we have to detox the body first to make sure our hormones are firing on all cylinders. And then we need to develop a strong, we need to develop the body, build up our hormonal strength in order to put us in the best, best quality eggs, best hormonal circumstances for the likelihood of conception. Right. And then we're ready to get down to business. Right. And actually start trying to get this person knocked up. If we boil our top of funnel conversation down into these 3 pillars of content, we're never going to overcomplicate things. We're never going to confuse our audience. It's going to be really clear for them. Okay. And most people struggle to capture their audience because they're all over the place with their content, and people cannot recognize them as the expert that can help them do the one thing that would actually make their heart sing. Okay. And when we overcomplicate, again, we're just going to lose everybody. So we start by coming up with this really clear messaging. And then our program essentially will become this is going to be step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, step number 4, step number 5, step number 6. You guys, in any one of these step number 1s, you can add as many to-do lists as you need to. Okay. But if we told them the 100 things that they needed to do in order to use functional medicine to optimize their fertility, we would lose them. Okay. This is what we call the chocolate broccoli process. Okay. We know that they need broccoli. We're going to cover it in chocolate and make it look like there's only 3 areas of work to do in order to get the main thing that they want. Because if we don't simplify it down that much, we will lose our audience. Okay, so we are forced to oversimplify the very complicated process of navigating the human health to get what we want. Okay, so here's an example of mine. Okay, so for practitioners, I have to help them amplify their impact. That means a bigger audience. I help them turn that attention into predictable profits. And I have to help them put systems in place that give them more freedom. I call that increasing their autonomy. That is the only way I am able to help them heal at scale. And what most practitioners want is to be able to take their expertise and turn it into a very leveraged income stream that impacts way more lives. Okay. So if I went out and tried to talk about the thousands of things that people have to do, from building funnels to being on social media to creating online programs and every little nitpicky thing that's involved in that, if I went out in the world and tried to say that, people would run screaming from me. Okay. So instead, I break it down into 3 things that we have to do. Okay. We have to build awareness. We have to take your audience from confusion about what to do to clarity that you're the obvious choice to help them solve their problems. Okay. Then we have to turn that audience into your paying clients, which means we have to convert them. Okay. And that means we go from initial connection to a financial commitment. Okay. And then the third area of work we have to do is elevate. And that goes from implementation to automation. And that's all about freeing up your time. Okay. So there are 3 pillars of content you will ever see me talk about. And I sell tons of my programs and my memberships into my Practitioner Accelerator Mastermind. And the reason that I do that is I stick to these 3 pillars of content and I never go outside of the lines unless I'm kind of digging into one of the 3 categories in each of these 3 pillars of content, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So it is essential that anyone who wants to sell at scale has very elegant processes for talking about the problems they could solve. Okay. So that's the Heal at Scale one. I create one of these for anything that I want to sell. So when I have a new program, I have a very clear process. Okay. So people who just graduated from FDN or IIN, well, you know what? They need invested clients, an engaged audience, and steady lead flow. So it's a different process, but I only talk to those people about the 3 things that we need to accomplish. Does that make sense? And by the way, all of these fit into this. You know what I mean? Like all of those, that program is basically getting all of this accomplished, right? So I'm sort of breaking it down like little molecules. So teaching becomes much easier. Okay. I do that for everything that I teach, even simple social school. And sometimes I will use a different graphic so I don't get bored with myself, right? But every one of us who wants to sell things absolutely has to come up with clear messaging. And the way that we do that is we have you interact. I'm going to switch screens here. I want you to see this. Okay. We have you interact with a bot that looks a little bit like this. Okay. So we have you prepare a document that has you be ready to work with this little bot right here. Okay. And once you prepare this document, this is just a chance for you to scribble notes and kind of get your head together before you start interacting with this bot. Okay. And this bot is going to start asking you questions. Okay. It's going to ask you questions about who do you serve? How can you help them? If you helped them in that way, what is the one massive desire that makes their heart sing that you would help them achieve? Okay. So it's going to ask you very specific questions. And by the end of that, you're going to come up with your own visual graphic, something that looks a lot like this, right? That can help you explain exactly what you do in very few words. Okay. And that you're going to say, hey, I can help you do this and this and this so that you have this. Okay. That's exactly what I want you to be able to do, because if you can't do it that simply and elegantly, you will never sell as well as you are meant to. Okay. So that's job number 1. And you will literally interact with this bot that I showed you right here. I'll give you a little prep homework. You have a little worksheet to fill out. So this doesn't make you nervous. You don't sweat when you interact with the bot. And as a result of that bot, you're going to end up with your own content construct. Okay. Then from there, you're going to take that content construct and you are going to move on to interacting with another set of AI prompts. Okay. Because once you create that, you guys, you're going to be able to fill out this clear process. I call this your single statement of value. And you guys, once you do this, you should be opening your YouTube videos with it. It should be your Instagram bio. It should help you completely revamp your social media, because you're simply going to be able to say, I have found that if I help these avatars, right? So for me, this would be, I help health entrepreneurs grow an engaged audience would be my number 1. Turn that attention into predictable profits is number 2, and put systems in place that protect their time and make more money so that they can heal at scale. Okay. Yours might be grow your family, right? Yours might be like feel like yourself again, right? Get back to the business of life. Whatever your one aspiration is, you'll be able to say that. Okay. And imagine having that opening phrase like ready for all your videos. Okay. Once you're able to do that, then you can tell and you're going to be able to say, oh, and the way that I do that. And for me, mine was aware and then convert and then elevate. Okay. Once you can clearly articulate that, now you have a hot date with a set of AI prompts that helps you create your entire course curriculum. Okay. So when you go in, I'm going to show you so you guys can just kind of see inside here. Bloop. Okay. Once you have your content construct, you come right on over here to your curriculum development and you use the exact set of prompts right here to create your entire course curriculum outline. Okay. I'm going to show you what it looks like. You get your own copy that goes into your Google Drive. You open it just like this. Okay. And all you are going to do is paste in your content construct answers that you got from working with the AI bot. And by the end of using this entire prompt set, you're going to have your entire program outline for your online program. Okay. So every single thing top to bottom is going to be done. Now, I want to clarify something because if you've worked with AI, you know that AI is definitely not perfect. Okay. So if I had to give this a grade on like a A to F scale of truthfully where your curriculum will, how good your curriculum will come out, your curriculum will be about a B plus. Okay. And then it is up to you, and we have lessons on this, to put it through what we call your originality overhaul. Okay. And that's where you look at the curriculum outline that you co-created with AI and you say, oh, okay, this is accurate for me. This is not accurate for me. Or this is too general for me. I need to get a little more specific with some of the lesson plans. But you will be baffled by how insanely detailed your initial first draft of your outline is. Okay. And then you have an entire set of prompts for revamping that curriculum outline so that it completely aligns with the way that you navigate with your one-on-one clients. Okay. So I feel like that it's impossible for you to get that experience unless you've just seen it before, you know what I mean? So I want you to hear this directly from someone who's been through it. It's funny, I think I just got one of these on my phone. So let me see if I can just throw this over to you really quick and you can see this. Yes, okay. Let me put this on my phone so you can see it. We'll have some technical fun here. And Courtney and Tracey, I can't see if your people have questions or anything. So if they do, please just interrupt me and we will make sure that they get answers.
The AI program from start to finish, if someone was really diligent at doing it, how quickly could they have their program up and completed? 3 days. Okay.
3 days.
Amazing.
3 days. 3 days. That was the trick, right? Because I was like, okay, it's crushing to want it to come to life. And you're sitting there trying to rack your brain. Whereas if you've just taken note of what you do with your private clients and you can look at that, right? And you can look, oh, okay, well, I've taken some notes on what I did with my last 3 clients that are in a specific niche, you guys, right? Because if it's 3 random clients, like one client who has chronic ear infections and one person who wants to get pregnant and one person whose digestive drama is off the charts, well, you're not going to create 3. You don't want to try to create and sell 3 programs at once. You want to create one program, get it out the door and working well for you. And ideally, you just become an expert in that space. You don't try to go out in the world and be an expert in everything, okay? Because there's old school, Ogilvy style marketing back from the 60s and 70s that says, if you're speaking to everybody, nobody's listening. So if you're trying to show up as an expert about everything, nobody thinks you're an expert about anything. They think you're a generalist. And when you have a problem, nobody wants to go to a generalist. They want to go to a specificist, right? They want someone who is a specialist in that particular area. So do one thing and do it really well and speak to one audience really well. And if you guys don't understand that as an entrepreneur, there's something called the rule of 5 1s. Okay. The rule of 5 1s is you're going to pick one audience that you can serve. Okay. And you're going to bring one offer to market to help them reach that one objective. Okay. Now, I consider that in the health entrepreneur space, that one offer is actually one objective we can help them achieve. And you can have different price points for that. So you can charge really high for interacting with you one-on-one, either in your clinic and telehealth. And then you can have a second price point for your live rolling evergreen group program. Okay. And rolling evergreen just means people can buy it as soon as they find it. They don't have to wait for the next live group to go through it together. Everybody can go through it as soon as they want to start. And then you have like this invisible third option, and that's the DIY self-study course. Okay. And we don't advertise that one, you guys, because we want your brand to stay very high quality. But if people ever got on a call with you and they were like, man, I really need this information, and they can't afford one-on-one or group program, how nice is it to say, okay, well, the least expensive way to access this information is our recorded self-study course. And it's your live group program. You're just giving them access to the recordings, but with no access to you. So there's very little customer service. There's none of your time. It's just an additional money maker that protects your brand from ever having to tell anyone it's difficult for them to invest in you, that they have access to that information. Okay. So back to rule of 5 1s, one audience, okay, helping them reach one objective. We're going to start on one platform before we try to be like Gary Vee, omnipresent on every single channel. Okay. So one audience, one objective we can help them reach on one platform through one conversion mechanism. Okay. So I see a lot of you throwing spaghetti at the wall. I'm going to try everything until I convert. Okay. We have to find one conversion mechanism that brings that in. Okay. That might be a lab test funnel. It might be a webinar. It might be you speaking from stage or speaking at Whole Foods. It doesn't matter to me what it is, but we're going to find one conversion mechanism. And we're going to do that. The fifth one is that we do that consistently until we reach $1 million or 1 year. And if you guys would stay using the rule of 5 1s, you would have infinitely more success. But what I find happens is you get like, oh, I didn't have enough success with it yet, so I'm going to pivot, I'm going to change. And you basically have put an idea out in the world that was a little baby, but you forgot to feed it and change its diapers and let it grow into the business offer that it should be, that it would be if you continue to cultivate it and pivot until the conversion on that offer was really high. All right. So I want you guys to see this really quick because this was a response from someone who created her program in 3 days. And I think sometimes it's better to just hear it from your own peeps. Let me see if you guys can see this.
I built a 12-week gut healing program with Travis and Joy.
I'm going to make sure you can actually see this. Is it not?
Yeah, it's not on the screen yet.
Okay, 1 sec.
You need to learn all of Joy's little display tools.
It's fun, right? Okay, let's see.
Media guru over there.
I know. No, it's fun. I'm not sure. Oh, I unplugged it. Sorry. It's like this cord's plugged into my phone, but it's not plugged into my computer. So that would be nice if it did that.
Telepathy. You're just passing videos by telepathy. No.
I wish I could do that. There we go. Now let's see if it'll go. Bloop. Might be working. Let me just see. iPhone 1 up. Sorry, guys. I'm having a technical difficulty here. Okay. What we might do, Joy's iPhone.
See your phone if you just hold it up.
That would totally work. I'm gonna try one more time and see if it goes. Okay, yeah, it's not, for some reason, it's not clicking through, but they could totally see if I hold it up. You're probably right. Let me go like this. I know what I can do is hold it up so you can see it, and then I'll hold her to the microphone. How about that?
She looks just like you. Do we all have to look like you after we
This is Melissa Koplacki. She's amazing, and she just had her book come out, The Constipation Code. She's so awesome.
Joy that
Yay. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, we can hear that very clearly.
I built a 12-week gut healing program with Travis and Joy that I really, really struggled to produce, from bulky slideshows to developing a curriculum. It took literally months. In the 3-day program I did last month, with Joy and Travis at Heal at Scale, I took that same program and cut it down to a 21-day gut healing program, built the entire curriculum, had all the information that I needed for my slide decks, built a bot to help people understand. If someone had questions about the program, there's a whole bot that they can ask questions of now too. In 3 days, not 3 weeks, not 3 months, 3 days. The amount of information I was able to produce with the prompts that they gave me was spectacular. I still can't even believe the amount of work I got done in 3 days. So my gut program is called Gut Reset 123. I hope you'll check it out and use this system if you are developing a curriculum, if you are building something out and you want to do it in record time. It is unlike anything else I've ever done. The speed at which we were able to produce content was mind-blowing. And not only did it give me curriculum for my program, it gave me video scripts for ads that I can run. It was, the amount of information, as I said, was just stupefying. And I continue to go back into the documents that I produced and am continually refining it and developing a better program from it. But it's tremendous. Don't be on the fence with this one. Don't miss the boat. This is what's happening now. This is the future. Welcome. I built
I love you, Melissa.
12-week
That's
gut healing
sweet. So that's just, I wanted you guys to hear that in the words of someone who is in your, position of having to figure this out and how to get across the divide. And what I love that she shared is that she had tried to do it previously and she was just kind of feeling like she was messing around and clumsily trying to put the thing together. And the whole thing was just elegantly done in 3 days. So you guys know that you create your clear messaging. We call that your content construct. You know that you create your curriculum outline using the AI prompts and a GPT that we built into the membership portal for you. Now, there's also the marketing plan that you create in there, but there's something Melissa mentioned, and I want you to see one in real time so you can understand the impact of this. Because if there's two big things that practitioners get really paranoid about when they go to jump that huge gap from I serve one-on-one to I serve one-to-many, it's first of all, does groups even work? And we talked about that. We cleared the elephant in the room that people actually tend to get better results in a group community. And then if they ever need you one-on-one, say for prescribing something or ordering a test that you don't feel comfortable, those people not being your patients, then of course they cross the gap and they come in and they be your patient or they sign your paperwork for being a telehealth patient. Okay. We've cleared that one. Okay. The other one is Joy. I'm barely keeping it together with my one-on-one volume of patients. What is my stress load going to be like if I have 100 people in a group program? Am I going to be losing my mind with questions and customer service? And I can confidently say the answer is no, because I've helped hundreds of practitioners change from one-to-one to one-to-many model. But I know that that's not going to feel real or true for you. And so what Travis taught us in this 3-day event, Travis is a genius in his own right, a marketing strategist who's just amazing. But what he did is he built an AI process for you to use to create your own 24/7 customer service Q&A bot in your group program. Okay, so you actually learn in this 3-day program, you create your basic messaging, your entire curriculum outline, your marketing plan, and the bonus is that you create a customer service bot. Now, that might have you really, paranoid that this little bot is going to go crazy and it's going to hallucinate and it's going to pull information offline that's going to land you in an orange jumpsuit in some terrible legal dilemma. Here's the awesome thing about what Travis did. He teaches you to create a little AI bot that only pulls from the videos of you speaking in your own group program. If you want to include your handouts, right, your curriculum outline, all the transcripts from your videos in your group program, Only you. It's like a little chat GPT, but only of you. Okay. So the only answers it could ever give are pulled directly from transcripts in your videos or handouts that you allow the GPT to use. In other words, it's encapsulated. Like, see, I'm encapsulated in this little blue box. It's like your data in a little box, and it cannot scrub the web and leave that box. It can only go into the box of you speaking and your handouts. And if you have a book, for example, you can also put your book in there, and it can only pull answers from there. And when it answers questions, it gives a medical disclaimer that, of course, it's not you and you need to check with you. It does all of that stuff for you. So how cool is that? It's insane. I want you to actually see that. And then I want to make sure that you have the link so you know how to get a hold of this. But I have a program for practitioners called Simple Social School, because a lot of you guys don't love social media. And in module 1, when you're getting set up, I have this little social school bot tender, and all of the practitioners have 24/7 help. And I can't tell you how many times I wake up to Facebook Messenger message being like people laughing their butt off. Like, your bot actually talks like you and it drops F-bombs like you. It's hilarious. Okay. So they come in here and they ask a question, and they might say, I am not confident that my Instagram bio is any good at all. Can you help me? Can you help me? And it's going to pull from all of these training videos that I give on defining their character diamonds, setting up boss level bios, all of these different type of social media lessons that I have in this module 1. It only pulls from what I taught in the lesson, nothing else. It does not scrub the web. How cool is that? I think that's amazing. So if you're stressed out about potential customer service issues, it's important for you to know that when you are in the protocol to program AI fast track, you will start with creating your clear messaging. You'll move on to your curriculum development. Then you'll create your marketing plan. And once you have your marketing plan, you will move on to creating your own, what is called a knowledge clone. And that is, we call it a knowledge clone because it's different than a public facing GPT that can pull from any information online and hallucinate. It only pulls from the information that you give it. Okay. So that's what we're up to in the protocol to program AI fast track. You guys have access to this. This is something that we're offering through GetHealthy store. Otherwise, it was something that we only offered to people who are in our Heal at Scale community or in our Practitioner Accelerator Mastermind. Okay. So I want to make sure you guys know how to get a hold of this. So I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to put on screen a QR code for you. Okay. So this QR code right here will take you directly to the protocol to program fast track page. And I'm also going to just drop that link. Actually, Courtney, do you have the link you could drop in chat for your people? And maybe for anybody watching the replay, we could put that like below the video so they have access to it. I'm going to take that as a yes. Courtney's muted, but I just want to make sure that you guys have access to that, because I can click the link for you, but I want to make sure it's in the chat for anybody who's with us live.
Yes, I'll grab it for you, Joy.
You got it. Okay, perfect. And if you're if you are a QR code reader, then you can just use that. I can make it. No, I think if I make it too big, it might not work for you. And that'll take you directly to that page. Okay. Here's the thing that I will say. If you are head on fire to get your group program out into the world, I highly recommend that you do this for a beta group and you get an intimate group of 3, 5, 7, maybe 10 people. Just email your list. Just email a small segment of your list. Invite a small segment of your audience, maybe just your Instagram or just your Facebook, and get a sense of what it feels like to lead people in these groups, okay? Because without fail, I've never had a practitioner who went into their group program without a little bit of feeling like, oh my gosh, I have the nervous Nellies, right? Like I'm nervous sighted is what we call it around here, right? I'm nervous sighted. But once they get through that initial awkwardness of like, how is this going to go for me to answer questions from 20 people, 100 people all at once, all about the same topic? What they ultimately find is they end up loving being that leader. They end up loving stepping into a community of people who are all rallied around the same goal. They're trying to solve the same health problem. There is some magic that happens, and they all end up reporting back to me like, wow, I didn't know that I would actually love my group so much. And I would say the vast majority of my people, 75, 80% of my people, end up shifting from their primary source of income from their one-on-one to their primary source of income coming from their group programs. Okay. And there's two reasons for that, you guys. One, obviously, they're leveraging their time to make a lot more money. Two, the back end sales, which you guys should be doing in your Get Healthy store, the back end sales of any testing, supplements, water filters, air filters, lifestyle products of any flippin' kind, okay? The volume of that goes up, not incrementally, like when we're seeing people one-on-one, but exponentially, because that same hour that we would be teaching one person or talking to one person, we're speaking to an entire group. So if we're speaking to one person and they go buy the supplement and lifestyle products that we recommend, cha-ching, our Get Healthy store is lighting up and making us money. When we speak in front of 100 people, 200 people, that cha-ching that happens over in our Get Healthy store is exponentially more frequent, more often, and more loud, okay? And that's what I want for you guys, okay? So if you are smart enough to be using the Get Healthy environment to add revenue, which you so deserve, then why wouldn't you take your expertise, turn it into a group program, and have hundreds of people linking to your Get Healthy store and buying all those items instead of just 1Z, 2Z at a time, sending people over to buy from your store? All right. So I hope that you guys see the value in getting clear messaging, creating your curriculum outline, doing your marketing plan, and then having that magic bonus of having a 24/7 customer service bot. And you guys, by the way, I have people who use those 24/7 customer service bots. Once they learn how to do them in that bonus, they also inject them into their websites, right? And they charge for it. How fun is that? Okay. So if you have questions about this, I'm totally happy to answer them. And then do they need to know how to get a hold of me on Instagram, Tracey,
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
they have questions? Yeah. Okay, great. You
Very
guys,
quick questions.
I'm at Real Joy Houston. There's another Joy Houston. She's a wedding designer in Houston, Texas, and that's not me. So you need to go to at Real Joy Houston and DM me, okay? I'm not one of those people who is not touchable in the online space. I'm very easy to get a hold of, and I do have my right-hand assistant go in there and make sure everybody gets a response. And if she knows that you need to connect with me and talk to me, she's just gonna give you a link, and we're gonna hop on the phone, we're gonna chat, and we're gonna figure things out. So you are not gonna go this alone. You're gonna figure this out, but you deserve to jump the gap between one-on-one and one-to-many.
So a few questions. What software program is used to build this?
So this is building your marketing plan, your curriculum outline, and your marketing plan. So you don't have to launch this on any specific platform. As a matter of fact, you guys have the ability to do courses right in Get Healthy Store, right? If they wanted to stay in that environment, could they?
We have the ability to integrate with Kajabi and Thinkific, which are learning management systems where we can pull those courses into the store. And then when somebody purchases that course, let's say from their marketing flow, that will give them an automatic login through email into Kajabi and or Thinkific for the
Yeah,
program.
perfect. So because you're creating the messaging, the curriculum outline, and the marketing plan, it's completely platform agnostic. You build on whatever platform you want. Should you want a pre-made, like it's called a snapshot on Go High Level, it's called a campaign code on Kartra. We have already built the online program. So the member portal login page, the member portal itself, a sales page, an order form, a thank you page, all that stuff. That is built and available for you on as a Go High Level snapshot or as a Kartra campaign code. And the difference between snapshots and campaign codes versus just building it however you want on any platform you want, in that regard, you're using what's called a full funnel flowchart. We show you what the pages should look like, and you can build on any platform you like. If you choose to use the snapshot or the campaign code, then those are injected right into your Go High Level account or Kartra account. But it's completely platform agnostic. You don't have to use any of our tech, none of it. The only piece of tech you would need to buy, let me think about this. The only tech that you would need to buy is there is a very inexpensive piece of online software that you buy if you want your knowledge clone. So remember that the knowledge clone is the 24/7 like AI bot that only answers questions from your videos, from your answers. You do have to pay for that. It's called Pickaxe, but Travis gives you a discounted link so you could get it even cheaper than they sell it publicly.
Awesome.
Yeah, other than that, it's tech agnostic.
Yeah. So I think, a lot of the practitioners on here, they have a GetHealthy store. They may not have marketing software such as Kartra or Go High Level. Those would be things that I would tell you to explore. In addition to that, they probably have a website, right? I would assume that they do. So it doesn't really take a lot to build this out, and
Not at all.
what about just a simple email software? Would that work to put your templates in there and just kind of email promote to their people? Or do you recommend like a flow that has all the content so when somebody does something, it will trigger other things?
Yeah, so I like you to have a CRM. For me, a CRM is the cost of doing business in the online space at the scalable level. Okay. So this is moving beyond your MailChimp to have actual landing pages, order forms that take money, usually via Stripe. That's the most inexpensive, easy, works around the world way to do it, with automated email sequences behind that. Okay. So I believe that is the cost of being a health entrepreneur versus being a practitioner who works for somebody else. It's typically less than $97 a month until you start hitting volume. Even at high volume where you're making tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, you're still only capping out at like $247 a month max. And when I compare that to, for example, I was part of opening a local clinic here in San Diego, and Deepak did the meditation curriculum. I did the cleanse curriculum and the menu design, and Sri K. Pattabhi did the yoga. So it was an awesome project to be involved with. That physical location that we rented cost us $17,500 a month. $17,500 a month for the location. So when I think about how much it costs to have a good location space, well, and I'm in California, you guys, so I will admit, we're in San Diego. We're one of the top 3 most expensive cities in the world right now. So hopefully where you live, your clinic is not that expensive, okay? But still, when we look at the cost to host a clinic with the space rental or payment if you buy the building, which I highly recommend, or your staff and your support staff, paying $99 a month to get your online curriculum is like a no-brainer. I believe everyone should be doing that. Here's the other thing. You could wing it, right? You could have a group program where you just sell it to your audience and you sell it to your email list and you do nothing but show up on Zoom calls, okay? That is a form of leverage sharing of your expertise, okay? Absolutely. However, every time you wanted someone to join, you would have to have a way to give them access to those videos, right? So I like if you use a platform like Kartra, like Go High Level, because they also are your member portals. So you film those videos one time, just one time. You don't have to teach it over and over again. You film those videos one time. They go in the member portal, and then after each week they've been given access to the video, they come to a live Q&A call with you. You can rinse and repeat that program ad infinitum for years to come. And you don't have to film new videos unless you're thinking on the medical, concepts change. You don't have to refilm those videos. You just show up to your weekly Q&A call or your bi-monthly Q&A call and you're good to go. You film it one time and you have an asset that makes you money for the rest of your online life. That's gangster. And you need a CRM in order to house those videos and hold them for ongoing consumption by your audience. Worth it. Worth it.
Yeah, I always tell Joy I'm a hack at best, and then I was convinced to move forward in my growth. We're trying.
You guys, new level, new devil. You know what I mean? I feel like the sooner we all embrace the fact that as we get to next income levels as health entrepreneurs, Well, when we get to that next level, we probably have to dance with a new devil that we're a little uncomfortable with, right? So you were where you were, hacking it out and making what you made. And then you decided to tackle go high level, and now you're making more, right? It was like when you started with Get Healthy Store. When you first started with Get Healthy Store, that was a new devil. It was clunky, it didn't feel right. You were feeling like you had two left hands. It's just like it's just because it's new. And now you can go into Get Healthy Store. So yesterday, Tracey and I did a video for my audience, and she was like creating a pill pack in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure the very first time that she did it that way, it was a new devil. And now she can do it with her eyes closed. You know what I mean? So same thing. When you move up a level in your world, you guys, when you hit the $1 million mark in your business, and I've helped so many people do this, they have new devils. So once we adopt that, like, hey, you know what? We're always going to have to dance, with a new devil at every level of success that we hit. I think it sort of calms our nerves a little bit. And we're like, yeah, it's just going to be a cakewalk once I get that first dance with the new devil out of the way.
Well, I appreciate your time and everything you do in the industry. I say that over and over to you. Guys, this recording is going to be made available to you and sent to you if you registered, so you can watch it again and again just to get the little nuggets. I appreciated the 5. I thought that really just focuses you in, one audience, one platform, one offer, one conversation or conversion, and then 1 year consistency or $1 million. I mean, I think, Joy, we just throw stuff at the wall, and because it doesn't move fast enough, you think that you need to be doing something else. And
Yeah.
you have to be consistent, and I tell people that all the time when I coach people. I'm like, just be consistent in your posting, do something every day, give free valuable content, but then give an offer. Like, you don't want to attract all the freebies, but you also want to
Exactly.
be a source of information that people go to. And you don't have to have a big audience. You just have to have
No,
a loyal audience that trusts you. And that's
exactly.
big. And I think what I call the clinical influencer, those are the best influencers because they take people that they've worked with and changed their life, like you did with your hormone specialist. And then all of a sudden, those practitioners scale and can get their genius out there to more people. I mean, nobody knew about her. And
Yeah.
I mean, how many women were suffering like you are and now have found a solution? So, those are the people that have the real in-clinic experience, have worked, just like our practitioners here. So I hope everybody clicks that link. And, one of the things that I'm going to tell you that you tell your clients and patients is you have to invest in the health of your business as much as your clients have to invest in their own personal health. And Ryan always says, take one day where you work on the business, not in the business, but on it. What are your goals? What are you going to do? In 3 days, you could have a full functioning program that you launch, and it could be life changing for practitioners and for the people that you touch. So don't get sticker shock. Just hit buy. Do it. You won't regret it. Working with Joy. Just do it. That return on investment will happen so fast. You won't even know what to do with all that money and revenue.
Especially if whatever you put in your program, you're linking to your Get Healthy store for any of the products or lifestyle tools that they need. Like the difference in your Get Healthy store sales volume from your one-on-ones when you have big peoples and groups is going to be radically different. That's why this is such a good mix, honey. Like Get Healthy store works really well when people are offering help at scale because there's no more onesie twosie orders. It's 50 or 100 orders. You know what I mean? It works. It goes up fast.
It does. And, from what I was doing and the financials that you shared in the beginning that I make was before I started all this automation. And, there's a refining point of, being able to speak clearly and getting your message right. And, having that critical eye put on your marketing and someone saying, clean this up, that's a little confusing. You have to be open to that. If you're not
Yeah.
open to growth, you won't grow.
Yeah.
Um, so criticism brings forth growth. And so I hope everybody found this as beneficial as I did. So thank you.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Tracy.
Absolutely. You're
And thanks
welcome.
to Courtney and the
Anytime.
team too. I appreciate Kat and Courtney over there. Thank you so much for your help, ladies.
They're the best. So
Thanks,
guys,
Joy.
make sure you click the Instagram link, go follow Joy on social channels and send her a DM if you have any questions. Otherwise, you can sign up for her AI program, which is going to be fabulous. And don't forget to implement all your favorite products and URLs into that flow. Thanks, Joy.
Bye.